Welcome back to MilSpouse in the House. I'm your host, Christie Nix. I was an active duty Army wife for 21 years. My husband and I have been married for 22 years. He just recently retired almost a year ago, and we settled down in the Fort Stewart, Georgia area, where I'm now the head trainer of our local Anytime Fitness after years of doing a virtual and online home-based business in the fitness space. Today, we're talking about giving back to the military community, and I am so excited about this conversation. Joining me are the three founders of Giving Tuesday Military, the initiative that encourages service members, veterans, and military families to support causes they care about and make a real difference. We're incredibly lucky to have all three founders of this initiative with us today. Army veteran spouse Maria Reed, Coast Guard spouse Jessica Manfre, and National Guard spouse Samantha Gomolka. Today, we're talking how these spouses connected, how they came up with the idea of Giving Tuesday Military and their nonprofit, the Inspire Up Foundation, and where things are for them now, 6 years later. Ladies, we're excited to learn more, but first, here is a quick rundown of the latest news impacting military families, brought to you by MilSpouses.com, a site built by military spouses for military spouses. The longest government shutdown in U.S. history came to an end earlier this month. Service members didn't go without paychecks during that time due to some reshuffling of funds. PCS orders, official travel, and separation and retirements, which were halted during the shutdown, have resumed. However, if you're waiting on one of those things, expect some delays as government workers will need to work through some backlog. Now, it's important to note this funding only lasts through the end of January. That means we could be facing another shutdown in a few months unless lawmakers pass another short-term extension or a full-year appropriations bill. Another thing we want to remind you guys, the DoD just rolled out new childcare fees for school year 25-26, including a brand new top income tier for families earning over $175,000 a year. Most families won't see major changes, but higher earning households may pay more. Check your installation's rate chart to make sure you're paying the right amount. You can find updates like these, plus a helpful guide to navigating the holidays without your service member at home on MilSpouses.com. The holidays can bring a lot of joy, but it can also be an incredibly stressful time of year. That's why it's important to take the time to invest in our mental well-being. For me, that sometimes means an extra workout or an extra time in my Bible study. But other times, because extra time is tough to come by, an option for a quick check-in via text to a Talkspace therapist. We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsor, Talkspace. Being a military spouse comes with its challenges, but you don't have to navigate them alone. Welcome to MilSpouse in the House, your go-to podcast for real talk, support, and community. And thanks to our sponsor, Talkspace, getting the mental health support you need is easier than ever. Talkspace is a secure, HIPAA-compliant therapy platform where you can connect with licensed therapists anytime, from anywhere. Now in the TRICARE network for all TRICARE recipients, for children 13 and up, retirees, veterans, and active duty spouses, because mental wellness is for the whole family. Visit Talkspace.com/MilSpouse today and take the first step towards support that fits your lifestyle. So today I am thrilled to welcome three powerhouse women, military spouses, leaders, and change makers who turned one small idea into a global movement of kindness and giving. They're the founders of Giving Tuesday Military and the Inspire Up Foundation, organizations that remind us that generosity is contagious and the world can be a more beautiful and kind place when we work together. Everyone, please help me welcome Maria Reed, Jessica Manfre, and Samantha Gomolka. Okay, ladies, before we talk about the amazing work you're doing within the military community, let's get to know each of you. Tell us a little bit about yourselves, what branch you're connected to, and how long you've been a military spouse and where you're stationed. And so, Maria, I'm going to call on you first.
Awesome. Thanks for having us. We really do appreciate it. So we are an Army family. My husband actually just retired out of the Army all of 5 months ago. So it's still very new and transition is real. I ain't gonna lie, transition is real. But we're, finding our footing and figuring out all the things. And I'm also a military mom. Our son has been in a little over a year now, which is not mind blowing. But yeah, we're living the dream. That's what I can say.
Yeah, that's amazing. And where are you located right now?
We're in Texas, so just outside of Fort Hood.
Okay, awesome. And Jessica.
Well, hello. Thank you for having us. I am a Coast Guard spouse. My husband has been in 24 years, almost 25 years, and I've been with him for 20 of those. So it has been a wild ride. We're currently stationed outside of Elizabeth City, North Carolina, and we are actually staying here. He'll be retiring next June of 2026. We built a house in Camden. We absolutely love it. A little bit about me. My God. Well, I'm obviously obsessed with books. So, if you're watching the video, there are a ton of books. I love to read. I love to hike, be outdoors. I'm also a practicing therapist, and I do military events for an amazing brand, Recurrent Ventures. So we have MilSpouse Fest, and we have the Military Influencer Conference. So I'm like ingrained in all of this. I don't even know a life outside of this community, and it's fantastic.
That's amazing. I love that. And for the audience that's listening, if you can't see, she literally has like the most beautiful bell, like little library with the ladder for all of her books. It's gorgeous. All right, Miss Samantha, you're up.
Yes. So I am a National Guard family, but it's a tumultuous journey, right? So my husband finished his 20 years active duty. We have been together for 21 years. He's been in for 26 years. We are in Buffalo, New York. I am a physician assistant by trade and have started a women's health and menopause centered practice focused on giving appropriate female care to our spouses and military members. So that's been my passion project that I've been working diligently on and have received so much support within the military space. So I think we walk the walk and talk the talk, and we're all integrated on many different levels. So it's been an incredible journey with these ladies.
I love that. I love that each of you are also unique in your own places of purpose and power, but that obviously what you're going to share with us as we get into this is the three of you together have created a ripple even bigger than maybe we could do individually. So let's get into that. So you're all connected through different service branches and you don't live in the same states. So how did all of this come to be? How do you know one another?
Oh my gosh. So in 2019, each of us was nominated for Military Spouse of the Year, and we won for our respective branches. So, Army, Coast Guard, and National Guard. And when you just meet those people that are just the other part of your soul, basically, that's really what it was. And we were on a trip together as a part of this award, and sitting in a room and trying to think about how we could unite the military community in some form or fashion. We had a meeting with Giving Tuesday headquarters and told them our idea, which was, okay, listen, we don't want to fundraise. We know Giving Tuesday can be amazing. It's great for nonprofits. I mean, the good that it does is fabulous. But we've got this little thing called the military, and we're all over the world. What if we flip the script and we activate ambassadors to do acts of service? And that's really where it started. And it just went bananas that first year. Obviously, we had no idea that it was going to turn into, COVID lockdown right after. So it was like, we finished up Giving Tuesday. Giving Tuesday Military is our campaign name. And we were like, okay, we don't want this to be one day. We want this to be giving always, which led to, us forming our nonprofit. And we were scheduled to launch our nonprofit on April 1st of 2020. So the project that we had, which was, based around Month of the Military Child, we made little stuffed hearts out of old uniforms for kids. We were going to do it together. We had all these, plans for these group parties. It was all remote with masks and mailing things, and it was just wild. But you know what? I don't think any of us would change it. That year was exactly what Inspire Up needed to be. So yeah, but that's where its roots are.
That's amazing. So you guys were never in the same place at the same time, other than at the Military Spouse of the Year event.
The first time we met was May of 2019. That was when we received our award, spent a few days together, and there was some travel involved in that award. And so that first travel event in Kansas City is where we met officially for the second time. And at that point, we were like, all right, we're blood sisters. Let's go.
That's amazing. As military spouses, right? We don't have time to waste, not heart to heart right away, right? I want your heart. I'm going to give you mine, and it's going to be a fit or it's not. But but you were already obviously women who were serving the military community, right? To be nominated for that award, receiving that award, you had already walked into the room of other spouses that have equally done the same thing. So that's really cool that your hearts were already primed for service, and you knew that about each other. Well, tell us a little bit about Giving Tuesday Military. In the beginning, what was the need? How did it come to life? I know you told us a little bit about how you guys met and that it started in 2020, which was obviously a hard year, but at its core, what is the mission?
Maria, I'll let you take that one.
Okay, thank you. I think we sort of, just piggybacking on what she said before, we kind of thrive in chaos. We've been apart, and then these things happen, and we're going to do it. We're going to do it. And part of what you said, how did all of this come together in that very first year? We're like, we're going to do 2 million acts of kindness. Okay. That's such a random number and such a lofty goal, but we didn't realize, at least I don't think I did, that how powerful the military community is and how quickly it started, that by the time it was 8 a.m. in the United States, there had already been 30,000 acts of kindness that had already begun over in Okinawa, in Japan. And we had ambassadors from all over the world, military families, military connected, and just patriotic supporters, people who wanted to be a part of the movement, because the mission of Giving Tuesday Military is to spread kindness to military and to non-military. And it doesn't have to cost a thing. And I think that's where we've always been. Being nice is free. Mm-hmm. You don't have to put a penny into that. And that's what we want people to take with them. You can do something good, whatever your good is, and it's never too small. Because sometimes I think folks have asked us, well, I don't have a big community and I'm not putting together these big, it doesn't matter. Big, small, one act, it's whatever it is that you can do, you could change someone's life that day and you may not have even known it. 100%. So I think that's kind of what we preach with moving with the military. Excuse me. There's your first edit. Sorry.
Well, hey, listen, Maria didn't sing her own praises, but I will. She has run a show and a series called Moving with the Military for, am I wrong, 9 years?
It'd be 9 years in January, yeah.
9 years in January. And she goes around doing makeovers for active military and veteran families. So she also has a history of being a producer for MTV. She's not even... Listen, there's so much that she's not telling you about her life.
It's the way back. It's the way back because I care about this life, maybe. But yes, the mission of Giving Tuesday Military has always been to give, to be kind, to do good, to be a good human. And that first year was incredibly powerful. And I think it's just grown and kind of become a life of its own with all the different ambassadors we have across the country. And if one of you could help me answer this question, are we in all 50 states, the proclamation, or how many states did we have governor proclamations for Giving Tuesday Military? I know I just asked that question.
last year.
We had ambassadors in every state.
Yes.
And 4 countries, I believe. As far as proclamations, we didn't achieve 50 states on that, but we did have representation.
Yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about what these ambassadors are doing and how they are capturing the acts of service and the giving on that particular day, so that you guys are keeping obviously account of these acts of service and these acts of kindness. How is that being shown to you?
Sam, want to tackle that?
So the first year when we were flying the plane while building it, I think that it remains very special because the ambassadors who signed up walked alongside us based off of vision, based off of passion. We had no numbers or data or history to look back on to prove that we were a success. We were 3 new friends who were committed to reaching an insane goal. By that time, we had met three times, and we're like, yes, we're going to do this. So that remains so special to me, that first year. We calculated our acts of kindness by spreadsheets. We have a lot of teacher and educators who join us, and they're very organized. We had hashtag following on Instagram and different social media platforms. And the first year when we did receive 2.5 million acts of kindness by Giving Tuesday, that was tracked by their headquarters, by our social media impressions and acts counted. Since that point, I think the movement has grown, but also we focused on what is the impact and can you really track that? When we say if you change a moment, you can change a day, which can change a life, we can't really put value on what holding a door open would be for somebody struggling with a baby or a stroller, or what an intentional hello can do to someone who just feels so alone. The price of allowing somebody to feel seen is just, you can't measure that impact. So I think we've relaxed a little bit in our accounting. I don't know if I can say that out loud. But I think after that first year, we had our goal, which we met and exceeded, but it was the stories. It was the reconnecting with I have goosebumps, reconnecting with the ambassadors that night, where the ambassadors shared what their personal experience was doing the acts of kindness, putting mittens on bushes for people to find, giving out items to a food pantry, delivering food to our local law enforcement departments. Those acts changed not only the ambassadors' lives, but the recipients as well. And so when we saw the magic, and I don't think that there's any other word besides magic, we knew that we needed to keep the main thing. And the main thing was acts of kindness and service and paying it forward.
That's amazing. So you started in 2019 with this big lofty goal. You said building the plane while we're in it. I love that analogy. So tell our listeners how it's grown. So it's been 6 years now. You went through 2020, which is a hard year to start anything for anybody. How has all of this grown up until now?
Who's it now? Am I tagged? Am I in?
Yeah, tag, you're it.
So technically it started in 2019. So that was the first year. And then the nonprofit was launched in 2020. So just, 4 or 5 months later. In terms of how it's grown, I think the most exciting thing is the fact that people know what it means and what it is, right? There's a lot of Giving Tuesday campaigns out there that are people are like, oh my God, they do amazing things, like Giving Tuesday Charlotte. Like, I know what they do for their community because I've heard about it even long before I moved to North Carolina. And so I think that's been the coolest thing, is going around, because I'm at different events, all year long. And when I mentioned Giving Tuesday Military, they're like, oh yeah, like I knew someone that started a blood drive one year, or I knew someone that did this on our base. And like, that is so like profound for me. It's like Sam said, like she was talking about how we've relaxed, but what she really meant is like, I'm not as crazy. That's what she wasn't.
I mean, I saw her pointing at you, but I'm kidding.
Yeah. I was so crazy that first year, and probably the second year too, as we were building the nonprofit. because I just, we had this vision. And for me, I'm an eldest daughter, I just feel this need to succeed. Like I can't help myself. And a very dear friend of ours, Krista Simpson Anderson, she looked at me one day in 2021 and she said, if you close your doors tomorrow, does that mean that everything that you did before was worthless, that it didn't matter? And she was getting me to realize that, even if, 5-10 years from now, we hang up our hat, right, and we pass it on to someone else or whatever it looks like, that doesn't negate everything that's ever happened. And I don't have to run this crazy race. So she met me. I was the crazy. I have relaxed the spreadsheets and the things. We are really blessed in that we have had national attention every year, whether it was the Kelly Clarkson show, whether it was, being on Jenna and Hoda, the Today Show, or, ABC, whatever it is. So like, I know for a fact that our numbers are probably higher because when you're on a media, when you have a national media opportunity and you're talking about, hey, like all you need to do is leave a kind note for someone or open a door, or, there's so many little things you can do. We don't know the ripple effect of just talking about it to that wide range of an audience. But at this point, we do ask our ambassadors if they could hashtag Giving Tuesday Military. That allows us to search. If they can track, like if they're raising, let's just say, warm pajamas for foster kids, if they're tracking how many they raised up, that helps us too. And we do try and get somewhat of a number because we do have on the nonprofit side, we have an amazing sponsor, the Armed Forces Financial Network. They give us a grant every year that allows us to get our ambassadors really cool swag. So they have new t-shirts and things to wear each year, but it also allows us to give out micro grants. Yep. She's got a shirt on right now. Maria has her Do Good shirt on.
Yes.
But we're able to give out micro grants because maybe they need something special for whatever project they're trying to do in their community. And, we want to help. We had 1 year, I can't think of what base it was, but they wanted to make toiletry bags for girls in middle schools because we learned that a lot of girls don't come to school when they have their period. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like we have to jump on this. And so that was a part of our grant cycle. It doesn't have to cost a thing, but you know what? If you've got a really big idea and you want some help, we're going to jump in and help you.
Yeah.
I think just to hop on your idea or statement, Jess, another way that I've seen that we've grown, which has been so impactful, is that the movement has taken on a life of its own. And I've noticed that my son last year planned a holiday card making event. There's this incredible nonprofit, Veterans Last Patrol, that makes holiday cards for veterans in hospice. And to see him, I didn't participate, to see him command an entire cafeteria of over 100 students willing to give up their time after school to write the cards, to collect the cards, reading the messages inside. It was the next generation kind of took it and ran with it. I was on Facebook this week, and one of my good friends from college, she was posting about Giving Tuesday Military. She's an educator. She's participated the last 6 years. She did it without me prompting, without me sharing, without me asking. That's part of her tradition now with her classes. And so to see an idea that started within the three of us move on, much like the ripple that you talked about, it's taken on a life of its own. And it's really beautiful to witness that.
Absolutely. Maria, what did you want to add?
I was going to say a lot of the same things. So thank you, Sam. But one of the things that I've watched is some of the kids, when they started, how young they were. And watching them grow within the movement and seeing them now in high school, in college, and what they're doing, and that they haven't forgotten this impacted them, and that they want to continue. They are exactly what Sam said, the next generation. It's not that we're sitting back and not doing anything, but in a beautiful way, we are kind of sitting back and watching it grow and watching it blossom. And that is absolutely priceless. I don't think it will ever end. GTM for life.
And that's the beautiful thing about a vision, right? Because a vision is only as good as your ability to execute it. And the getting the people involved and included just multiplies your vision in a way that the three of you never could, whether you all lived in the same state or not, because you've had a vision for what could happen and what could exist. And then you've empowered people to carry that vision out, right? And then that's the most beautiful thing about an amazing vision is if it ended tomorrow, like Jessica was saying, it wouldn't matter, right? Because the vision is now in people's hearts and they're going to take that seed and plant it somewhere else. And what a beautiful thing. This is so exciting. I love learning about this with you guys. And so that leads me into this next question. You've seen this movement touch thousands of lives. And I've loved some of the stories you've already shared, but are there any moments and stories that stand out that really capture what this is all about for you?
I'll start with one. One of our ambassadors, Julie Moser, who is a cancer survivor, and she has a nonprofit, Pink Warrior Angels. Every year, she has teams across the country putting together cancer care kits, and they go to hospitals, they go to chemo centers, and they hand these out. But more than just handing out the kits, it's taking that time to talk with each person. I'm gonna cry. Okay, not gonna cry. It's taking that time to talk with them and just listen. And that is so incredibly powerful. So every year when I see her and I watch this, I'm excited to see what is Pink Warrior Angels gonna do next. What are they gonna do to support cancer patients? So that's one that's always stood out to me.
That's beautiful. Anyone else?
Sam, go ahead. Your turn.
I think one of our ambassadors that has really stepped up in even just recent days is Monica Bassett with Stronghold Food Pantry. And she has been with our organization for several years. She runs a food pantry, not only in her home state, but she has mobilized ambassadors across the country, has utilized services like Walmart food delivery, particularly not only in the Giving Tuesday military season, but in the recent shutdown. She has lifted so many families up facing food insecurity that she is not only changing lives, but she is saving lives. And we were fortunate this past summer to be ambassadors of Stronghold. So we participated in bringing groceries to different military families. And to be welcomed into their home and to hold their cat and to exchange a few minutes of meaningful conversation, to see that exchange and be privileged enough to be part of it. I don't even have words. I don't have words, but yet it filled the conversation in the car for the rest of the day. It's just it's hard to comment on how it affects you at your root level. These are families who are giving so much and sacrificing, and to be in a position where they need just a little bit of help. I don't know, Maria, you were there. Help me on this, because it just changes you at a molecular level.
It does. It really, I mean, all three of us, one of those times that we were all together at Fort Campbell doing this, and just watching there was just such beauty in being able to give, but it was about being present in the moment for that family. And the food's great, don't get me wrong, that's what we need. We need the sustenance, but being present for that family and being able to talk with them, like you said, for just a few minutes, that was the change. That it was like somebody really not just saw me, but someone understood me. And I think coming from military and giving to the military community, that really, it made such an impact, not just on them, but on us. I think it left such a lasting impact.
Yeah, the food is sustenance, but the fellowship is feeding their soul, right? And so I think that is what
Girl,
you guys
you just
are
took us
saying
to church. You just
is
took us
so
to church.
intoxicating about this vision, and then from the vision and opportunity, and from the opportunity, just the ripple of how you're filling people's souls and meeting them where they're at. So that's absolutely beautiful. So much growth for sure. So let's talk about the why, right? So okay, we're taking food, filling bellies, but we're also filling hearts and souls. What drives you guys personally, if not that, or maybe it is that, to keep leading these efforts, year after year? So we're in year 5, year 6, from that first chance encounter of you guys deciding to do this.
Jessica drives us.
Jessica, yeah, and you're first, girlfriend.
Oh my gosh. So I mean, every year, like we already did our intros, right? We're all we have careers, we have families. we're busy, but this is still my favorite time of year. Even when I'm like, oh my God, I can't do it. Like I cannot do it. I'm doing it. Right. And so like we know scientifically that when you give of yourself, when you serve, when you volunteer, that it changes your brain, you know? And so for me, what I try and tell people, you know, like even in my practice, maybe they've just PCS, they're, you know, coming to see me because their mental wellness isn't, you know, doing that great. One of the first things I will recommend to them is, okay, what are you passionate about? Is it animals? Hey, let's go volunteer at an animal shelter. You know, do you love doing this? Let's go volunteer here. Is it going to fix everything? No, but it's going to put you in a headspace where you're going to be ready to tackle whatever it is you're dealing with. And so, you know, what Sam and Maria talked about with what we did at Fort Campbell, that carried us for so long, you know? And so for me, you know, being so busy in my life, yes, this is a busy time, but that carries me through the holidays. Just that feeling. I've been served. I've been on the other end of it where I was like, I felt like I was drowning and there was no one around and there was no life raft, and someone was that life raft for me. Mm-hmm. And so when I think about the moments throughout the years that have impacted us to keep going, you know, there was a time where, and we still do events where we did our first annual Inspire Up event, and we still did service projects. We still incorporated Giving Tuesday Military. And we had a spouse who told us that she was thinking about ending her life, but coming to the event, being surrounded in community support and love, it changed her mind. And a year later, she wrote, you know, her own book, self-published, and she's thriving. And so that is a story that I'll always carry with me, is that even when we're on the brink of like utter exhaustion and we feel like we can't go any further, there's always someone there that's going to help pull us back, you know, keep us moving. They're that for me. I just, again, I'm not crazy anymore. I don't measure it. For me, it's just like, did we do good? Like, were we able to inspire people? You know, this year it was all about what can we do, not just on Giving Tuesday, but what can we do every day? What can we do every month? And so, you know, I brought Giving Tuesday Military to every single MilSpouse Fest, and every single spouse that I encountered was doing a service project, whether it was for families in crisis, Fisher House. You know, we work with so many different organizations. I wanted them to feel that power of serving others and then being served, right, in that event. And so I think that that's our why. That's our driver, is we just want people to know we can be here for each other. The world can be exploding, right? That first year while they were on the Today Show, I was in DC and I was knocking on doors and giving all the staff and senators and congressmen kindness stickers, thanking them for their service. They don't get thanked very often. There were many staff who were like in tears because they're so used to being yelled at. And I'm just walking in, hey, I just want to thank you for everything you do. That's, you know, it was very impactful, you know, for me. So I don't know what the next year is going to bring or what this, you know, particular Giving Tuesday season will bring, but I know it's going to be amazing. And for me, it'll carry me over into the new year.
Yeah. What about you, Maria?
I was going to say, I think I said it at the end of the first year of Giving Tuesday Military. It really is giving always. Mm. It's not just that day or not just every Tuesday, but it's always. And when you get that mindset, it kind of changes the way you think and the way that you proceed with situations. You're just in a different mindset, which I think is very positive. And that is very helpful. So it's just, it's an all good all the time. See, like the shirt says,
you just marinate in it. You stay marinated, and it's a 24/7. Yeah.
Exactly. Like that, marinating. That's what we're doing.
What about you, Samantha?
I have 3 children, and what we talk about in our home is that be the example. Be the good. And I think it was a quote by Mr. Rogers that when there's bad in the world, look for the helpers. We need to be the helpers. And I think with, you know, social media and just seeing the state of not even the country politically, I just mean humanity in general, there's a lot less tolerance. There's a lot less discussion. There's more escalating to action. And if we could just be the good, do the good, what can that perpetuate further? And I think personally, on a note, I was the recipient of acts of kindness. And in 2023, I had my own cancer diagnosis. And so that's what caused me to tear up, because I've been the recipient from Julie Moser's kindness. To be in a position where I needed help, to have people who stepped in without me having to ask, who stood the gap and were my community and carried me until I could walk myself, empowered me to never forget that experience and to always be looking for ways on how I can continue to pay it forward. And I hope that I can change other people's lives the way the military community and my civilian friends and family changed mine in 2023.
Yeah, that's amazing. So it sounds like you have a deep rooted, a personal why for sure, outside of maybe an overarching why.
They're stuck with me. Yes.
Totally.
I love that you said, and I didn't have to ask, as a military spouse, and I immersed myself in every military community we were a part of. And you can ask how can I help? What can I do? Oh, I got it. I got it. And I have 3 kids. My husband was gone. I lived in a place I didn't know anybody. I know what you need. You need me to pick up a kid. You need me to pick up some milk so you don't have to put all 3 kids in the car just to go to the grocery store. You know what I mean? And so I don't think we necessarily have to wait to be asked or told how someone needs help. Sometimes it's just the effort and just show up, right? One of my sweet friends, she always just brings me food. She just will always bring me food because I will serve everybody that needs me in my home, at where I work. There's another task. I am an achiever. I am task oriented, and I will just do the next thing, and I will not eat. And so whether I mention or not, she's just always got a second helping of something for me, even if it's just a little candy. It's all she needs to do. I love it. So
that means a lot.
It does. It does. Okay, so Jessica, you mentioned the Inspire Up Foundation. Let's dive a little bit deeper into that and tell us how that came about and what it does today.
Yeah, no, happy to. So really it was the day after, and we were probably on a FaceTime as we usually were. And what we haven't mentioned is that Sam and Maria's husbands like to take turns deploying. Sometimes they deploy at the same time too. So like in between this, like Mike was gone that first year, wasn't he? I'm not crazy, am I? So Sam's husband was gone. Then Pat, like they were just like, I saw Patrick in May of 2019 and I didn't see him again until, was it March of this year? Yeah, March of this year, because every time I came to Texas, he was deployed somewhere. And so they navigated and did all this in between deployments. So they're amazing. My husband was off ships at that point, so I did not, occasional TDY, not the same. In terms of, we were literally on a FaceTime the day after, and we were like, man, like, this was crazy. This was so much fun, because what you guys don't know is that we launched it on September 15th, and Giving Tuesday was December 4th that year, or was it 3rd? 3rd? I don't know, 4th or 3rd. So it was just bananas, up until that day. So the next day we were just like, all right, what next? Like, I want to do more. Also, we can't do this out of our personal checking accounts. Our husbands are going to kill us. That was, really the root of it all. And so we brought in a very dear friend of ours. She's also a Coast Guard spouse, Stacy Billadu, and decided to form this nonprofit. And, Inspire Up was really, that's what it is. Like, it's not about us. It's not about this nonprofit. We want to inspire up the next generation, the next person. We are united in this. And so that first year, we launched on April 1st of 2020, around Month of the Military Child. And then it was just one project after another. Obviously we were separated that first year because of COVID. I think if I remember correctly, that was a really special year for GTM. Yes, we were in masks and it was crazy, but the heartfelt thank yous for all of those service projects all over the world were just next level. That was amazing. We also, decided to, start some like official programming, right? So we launched impact grants. Okay, you want to go back to school, you need a little help, this is your idea, and this is how it's going to benefit the world, because if we wanted to link it into kindness, we would give out grants that way. We also had emergency grants, because that the military community is like this, I don't want to call it the game of telephone, but like we're connected in ways that are pretty crazy. And so the stories would trickle in, and we would be able to be like a fairy godmother on the side and help, where help was needed and maybe a relief organization couldn't step in for one reason or another. We also started doing conferences and events because we really felt like getting people together, especially in the wake of the pandemic, was really important. We need to foster that sense of connection and togetherness. And so we did 2 back-to-back annual conferences, and then we were starting to do some pop-up retreats and things. When I think about Inspire Up today, I think at its heart, we have made Giving Tuesday Military the core principle that we unite around. We still do impact grants. We still do emergency grants for families in need, but it's all around kindness and it's all around Giving Tuesday. And we've been doing service projects, every month, with MilSpouse Fest, and, recently in Fort Campbell, we partnered with the Spouses Club there and with Monica and Stronghold. And so for the future, I don't know what the future holds. We really are looking towards, some fun things in 2026. Sam's smiling because she knows.
We keep building the plane as we're flying.
I don't have a security clearance, so the secrets just run through me.
She does. She does.
It's all over your face, Samantha.
Yeah. I don't even know. Don't put her in
But
the
I
CIA.
think we keep building the plane as we're flying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jessica would say, we make the rules. And I think that is a sassy way of saying that our vision continues to evolve. And so as we grow as professionals, as we grow in our own mission statement, we remain true to what our pillars are: service, connection, community, kindness. But the programming and how it looks, we keep it exciting. And so, yes, there's an exciting initiative I'm sitting on. And 2026 is going to be bananas.
That sounds amazing. I love too, I'm trying to remember this thought before I forget it. It's no surprise to me that you ladies started this in what was one of the hardest years for a lot of people, because I think as military spouses, we learn how to thrive in chaos, right? Without knowing a clear defined path. We know where we're trying to go, and we're going to bulldoze our way there, and we're going to go around any obstacle that comes, because there's no way you're going to do a 20-year military career and not have that type of mindset. And in a time where a lot of people would have said, let's pause, let's wait, or personally, this is too challenging for me because I've got my own things happening. You guys went for it and created something that has now, it's so big, you can't even define it anymore, Samantha. Whatever's coming for next year, it doesn't even have a definition because the vision's just grown. And you guys are pumping me up so much. I love it.
We ain't scared.
That's right. All right. So Giving Tuesday Military is actually just around the corner, December 2nd. Thanksgiving is late this year, so we'll be diving right into a very busy holiday season. And as we've mentioned, the holidays bring a lot of joy, but also a lot of events and a lot on our to-do list that sometimes feels never ending. So before we wrap things up today, we'd like to share another message from our sponsor, Talkspace, about how they can support military spouses through these joyous but stressful times. And when we come back, these ladies are going to share some of their wild stories or TV appearances that this journey has taken them on. So we'll be right back. Being a military spouse comes with its challenges, but you don't have to navigate them alone. Welcome to MilSpouse in the House, your go-to podcast for real talk, support, and community. And thanks to our sponsor, Talkspace, getting the mental health support you need is easier than ever. Talkspace is a secure, HIPAA-compliant therapy platform where you can connect with licensed therapists anytime, from anywhere. Now in the TRICARE network for all TRICARE recipients, for children 13 and up, retirees, veterans, and active duty spouses. Because mental wellness is for the whole family. Visit Talkspace.com/MilSpouse today and take the first step toward support that fits your lifestyle. And we're back and talking about Giving Tuesday Military, a movement aimed to unite all the branches of service in a collective effort to serve with purpose and kindness. And that Giving Tuesday Military journey has taken these ladies to some wild places. So I'm going to ask one of you to share. You mentioned earlier you were on some of these morning shows, multiple TV appearances. So what's a story you can share with us? Because that's really wild that your vision that you met as strangers in 2019 and the next thing you know, you're on TV together, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was crazy. I would say the first one. The first one was Kelly Clarkson. I don't like speaking. Maria's really good at it. Sam is fantastic at it. And we're just sitting in the screen room. The producers are telling us all the things we can do and say. And we had this idea. We wanted to coin Kelly. And the producer was like, absolutely not. And even me, not who I was back then, I was like, what? You're not going to tell me what to do. And Maria was definitely not going to be told what to do. So we were like, all right, we'll go into this. It's going to be fine. We're going to make it work. And sure enough, like when it's our turn, we talk about Giving Tuesday Military. We talk about who we are, how we know each other. And then Maria went for it.
Well, I could see the producer looking at me like, okay, you're almost clear. You're almost done. And I'm like, but are we though?
So who stands
Are
up
we
with the
done?
coin?
I think I stood up with the coin and I started to talk and explain to Kelly what it meant. And she walked closer to us
Yeah.
because it intrigued her. But all I could see from my path was the producer like, oh, I am so mad at you. But it stayed in the show because it was such a great moment. Yes, he was probably mad at me that I did it, but I think it was a moment that was important and needed. And it helped her understand
Yeah.
what having, a coin is and what the challenge coin means and why it's given. So do I take it back? Am I mad about that I did it? No. Does he like me anymore? I don't know.
He does.
You might
He
not be
does.
invited back. Who knows? Who knows? Worst case, you
Exactly.
just don't go back. That's
No.
awesome. So that was the Kelly Clarkson show right at the very beginning. And then have there been other TV appearances?
I
Yeah.
think the Today Show was special for me because I actually met my college friend, Matt Abdu. So we went to Geneseo together, and he's had this amazing career as a chef and has several restaurants, and he's a regular on the Today Show. He met us in the green room with a container of chocolates and welcoming us and just taking one of the biggest days of my life and giving me a friend from 20 years ago that just kind of grounded me in that moment. And
Yeah.
the Today Show cast was just so welcoming. It wasn't an act. They are, Jenna and Hodo are as genuinely nice in person as they seem on TV. They did their research. Yeah. They prepared cards for us to take for our campaign. The entire crew was so kind. It was a really positive experience.
Yeah, what a cool God wink to have a friend that you've known for a long time and make the world feel so small in it, like such a big moment too. That's really cool.
Could I add to that day? Because the military world, even though it's only 1% of the population serves, and it was so just serendipitous that on that same day, someone who I only knew through Instagram was also being featured on the show. She was a military spouse. Her husband was a Marine. And when we both saw each other, we're like, why do I know your face? Why do I know you? And immediately we started talking and she's like, I'm doing Giving Tuesday. And I had a t-shirt. I'm like, here you go, Giving Tuesday Military. And all those things just happened. Like, who would have thought that day in New York at that moment that would continue, and they continue to do it, which is so beautiful. It's like you can't plan these things. They just happen. And I love that.
That's awesome. What a fun journey you guys have been on. So tell us what is next for Giving Tuesday Military and the Inspire Up Foundation, or
World
tell
domination.
us what you're allowed to tell us, because it sounds like we all need to be looking for something really exciting for 2026, but tell us what we can share now that's next.
Ooh, I like this. I mean, I'm not going to act super, coy. We really are going to focus on wellness. Maria, with what she does with renovation and, color and art, there's therapy in that. You've got Sam with her vast knowledge because she is a physician assistant and she has all sorts of certifications. And then my background as a mental health therapist, we really are going to focus on wellness. And so we are still building that, what it's going to look like programming wise. But basically we want to build access, better access for military spouses specifically. into wellness. I know for a fact that where I practice, our TRICARE waiting list is like 125 right now because, I mean, even when they hired me, it took 6 months just for TRICARE to approve my application. And military families shouldn't be paying, what they have to pay out of pocket to get services. And it's not right. So we're gonna lean a lot into wellness. As far as Giving Tuesday Military, I think every year someone always surprises us with their project. I always love hearing people's ideas because what my community needs here, in Camden, North Carolina is a lot different than, someone that's in Guam, right? Like we're going to have different needs. And so I love, when they invent, different projects. I will tell you, mine makes me look like a stalker, but I do it every year and it's my favorite. I will literally get, like, if you're on the video, I will get Post-it notes. And I will write messages of kindness and I will stick them to cars. I will go into parking lots and just stick them because you don't know the power of your words and how you can change a life. And like, what is this, $1.50? Like this is such an easy way. And so, if it holds 50, that's 50 acts of kindness. So that's my favorite project. We were always writing cards. We love Veterans Last Patrol. That's an organization that we have partnered with for the last 5 years and will always partner with. Blood drives are huge. You can save 3 lives with one, blood donation. What else, girls? Like, what do you think of the future? I let the cat out of the bag with the wellness, but like for GTM and just for, Inspire Up, what are you thinking?
Brittany Rains in the Warm Up Project. So she was stationed at Watertown or Fort Drum for a couple years. And she has this amazing nonprofit that would put hats and warm scarves and mittens on trees and around just the city center with these incredible notes of, if you find me, I'm meant for you, wrap yourself up. It just really, really beautiful notes. And so that is very impactful. And I like, the one year we taped quarters to gumball machines so children could have a free gumball. We've had people, make birthday kits with food pantries. So it's a cake tin and a box of cake mix and a can of Sprite and birthday candles. Those are ready made. Or chalk messages of positivity. Jess, didn't your school do hot chocolate before school the one time? Yeah. It's the imagination of how can you make a difference in the world.
That's beautiful.
And some of the crazy that we've done, because it always seems like we were doing a makeover or getting ready to do a makeover and traveling somewhere right around Giving Tuesday Military. And one of my favorite things was, and it's sort of was always trying to explain it to somebody, but one year we stopped at Buc-ee's and I think we gave about $2,000 in free gas. And we would just walk up to people and say, "Hi, can I pay for your gas?" And they're just, "Wait, is this real? Am I being punked? Like, what is happening here?" And then we have that time where we can talk about it and then the stories come out. I didn't know I had to choose between gas or food. And the fact that you paid for my gas, my family can eat. And I'm like, "Oh, and we're going to buy your food as well. We're going to do all the things." So we try every year to save a portion of money from the Moving with the Military budget so that we can do things like that, buy groceries, go to HEB here in Texas and just surprise people with, we're going to get that for you. We're going to handle, that meal for your family or this, bunch of groceries. And when we get the opportunity, because we do it at random. So sometimes it's civilians, but the times when it's a veteran, a Vietnam veteran, your Korean War veteran, and you get this chance to talk to them, they feel seen. Oh, I have a cat that wants to say hi.
So it sounds like a lot of your future is continuing that mission of spontaneous kindness, right? Like you can't really define what it's going to look like, but the mission, you said pillars, right? The pillars are there and the rest is that spontaneous kindness. So I do love that. So one of you, please tell all of our listeners how they can get involved with you guys.
Sam.
Well, Giving Tuesday Military, our website, you can go up. There's a join the movement. So you can be an ambassador, you can be a participant. You can find other people to participate with. And a lot of times we've heard, I just heard about this, Giving Tuesday's tomorrow, or when our shows would air and it would be that day, oh, maybe next year. There's no planning needed. It's just intentional moments. You don't have to build a big campaign. Some of our ambassadors do, and it is incredible. Some people put months of planning, but those moments of spontaneous kindness, of what can you do just now, really carries it so far.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And so one of my key takeaways I think I've heard from you guys is basically start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can, right? So that's a beautiful message because we can all participate and spread that kindness that you guys have launched.
And
Yes, Maria.
Isn't that what military spouses do best? Use what you can, start right now, and just make it happen. That's how we live our lives.
I was going to ask, can we use what you just said because you encapsulated it so perfectly? I'm like, tagline.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think of the little drummer boy, right? Like he didn't have a lot to give, but he had a drum and he could bang it, right? And so you can open a door, you can put a Post-it note, you can buy someone's gas, you can create an organization, but kindness can be free. And you guys are trying to spread it like wildfire, and I absolutely love it. It's beautiful to watch. And what an awesome orchestration, the three of you to be put in the same room at the same time. You know, do you guys ever think back, like, you know, who knew that this was going to happen, right? Like, what a beautiful orchestration.
We call ourselves our soul sisters. That's the name of our chat. Yeah. So honestly, they were the friends that I've been looking for, and BFFs forever.
Yeah. Changed my whole life. I would not be doing anything that I'm doing today without the two of them, and that is true.
It's beautiful.
Exactly.
Well, I feel your energy. I feel the excitement. I know that there's no end in sight to what you guys can create and do. Maria, Jessica, Samantha, I thank you so much for your service, your leadership, and your hearts. And what you have built is so much more than a campaign. It's a movement of humanity. It's absolutely beautiful. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Maria, Jessica, and Samantha, thank you for your service, your leadership, and your hearts. What you've built is so much more than a campaign. It is a movement of humanity. And one of my biggest takeaways from our time together today is really just to start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. And that ripple of kindness is endless. If you want to get involved, make sure to visit givingtuesdaymilitary.com or inspireupfoundation.org. Follow their social media channels, find your local team, and be the reason someone smiles today. You guys, make sure to subscribe to our podcast here, MilSpouse in the House. Leave us a review. Let me know how I'm doing as your host. And join the MilSpouse in the House community. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at This Is MilSpouses. And as always, guys, I'm your host, Christie Nix. I've loved our time together today, but it is time for me to sign off the net until next time. Merry Christmas.